Roland Postma is the managing director of the Young Urbanists, but also the co-director of the Automobility Association or movement here, the co-director of the Active Mobility Forum here in the city of Cape Town, because we opened up the show talking about over the space of 7 days, we've had 3 cyclists being killed in the city of Cape Town. On the weekend, a 57-year-old cyclist was killed on Chapman's Peak Drive, collided with a tour bus. 2 other cyclists injured in that incident. Then on Friday, according to the Cape Times, a 35-year-old cyclist died after swerving to avoid an opening car door. He then fell in front of a taxi on Claremont Main Road. He then died in a case of culpable homicide, according to the Cape Times, has been opened. And then last week we spoke about the death of veteran cycler Dennis Hammer, 76-year-old, died after being attacked while cycling near the Artscape Convention Centre. He was pushed off his bike. He was robbed of his phone. He later died in hospital due to post-op complications. But there have been 6 reported incidents of injuries and accidents also in Durbanville. On the Wellington Road, a cyclist was injured in a hit and run with a truck on Bottle Array Road. A group of cyclists hit by a vehicle. 2 riders injured there. Roland, really appreciate your time. It's a regular conversation that we have. We usually have this conversation when we have cyclists preparing for the major cycle tours that usually happen in the summer months. But how do we begin, Roland, to reverse this culture of fear of cyclists on Cape Town roads? And you have to have the fear of some deity in your blood if you're going to be a cyclist in this city of Cape Town trying to share our roadways with other road users. Roland?
Good morning, Lester. It's been a very horrible week for everyone involved, for all South Africans when it comes to mobility, particularly cyclists. In terms of this fear, you look at the modal split where it sits currently at 1%. Of course, that changes when we're near the Cape Town cycling tour, where the city becomes, the cycle capital of the world. And so to really get that fear, we need what I've said consistently throughout, which evidence is safe, dedicated cycling lanes for both recreational and commuter and vulnerable cyclists for our infrastructure. But it starts with motorists, especially understanding that they're sitting behind a piece of metal box. They are protected. And it's a shared obligation, both by law, ethics, and who we need to be. Sadly, as South Africans, when we get behind a car, we tend to weaponize that car. And I do not say that lightly. This is not, but based on my opinions, based on statistics and observations. So regardless of who you are, so in order to have shared roads, we need to change our culture. We need to have level of accountability, but we also need to see government, which they are, working towards roads that are designed for all users, not just speed and inconvenience.
So, Roland, are barriers, are they policy barriers, are they structural, or are they attitudinal? Attitudinal of all road users?
A bit of everything, Lester, I would say. It's definitely institutional. It's in our culture. Again, you might be a professor or you might be a doctor or whatever, but the moment you get behind a car, you become a different person. I would really, we weaponize, we become something different. And the worst is if I see children, people my age, that have gotten these behaviors from their parents, evidently. So it's passed on where it's about me and my speed and a few seconds, and that's why we have these statistics. But we also have a road infrastructure network that's very makes it very dangerous to cycle, whether it's recreational or commuting.
Roland, really appreciate your time, but unfortunately running up for news. We'll continue the conversation with your messages, your calls 021 446 0567.